Fighting easier from outside the cage, but Raph and I have frequently said if you need any communication help, that shit is not easier outside of the cage. You should call us. It's time for Verbal Tap. I am your host, Kevin. Raph, how are you doing before I give you some UFC breaking news that's going to change your world perspective?
I'm a little behind. I just got back in from Dream BJJ. I was serving as a photog for that.
Hey,
last minute.
Shandy. Little
Yes,
Sean.
Shandy
with his
rhymes.
beautiful smile. We could do that for a little bit. It's like M. Shyamalan.
So in the background right now, as you're talking, I have Cub Swanson versus Crone Gracie playing because I saw Crone say, "Hey, I won that fight," and I don't know anything about this fight except that he did. So I'm just.
And I
trying
definitely
to see
lost. I'll tell you that. I've got some time into these. I watched all five of the decisions, Raph. All five. Including Kron's. In a massive disappointment in terms of, I don't mean this, I kind of expect a grappler to hit a point where it's like, okay, it's time to do what God put me on this earth for. And I'm not even a religious person, but I know he is. So I kind of was hoping, like, when is Kron going to go crazy? He does a pretty cool, weird hooks. Why are we talking about this? Hold on. We have got to stop. Put a brakes on it. Who cares? Kron, sorry. Brakes, buddy. Today, Raph, I have to share with something Joanna Jedrzejczyk said. And I'm quoting. This was said to MMA Junkie. I'm going to play a fun guessing game of where did this come from. Big thanks to Dana. It's not like I'm trying to be sweet and put a finger into his ass. But that's not true because he knows what's up. End of quotation. All right. What is that about?
Okay.
It is real. This is not fake as best I can understand unless MMA Junkie's doing some onion things that I'm not aware of.
I'm surprised at the happenstance of all of this because the one time I don't actually have the breaking news, it plays more into your wheelhouse of Raph, the Google alert worked.
I'm so upset I have to break this to you. Why couldn't it be, hey, Raph, did you hear GSP accepted with Khabib? No. I was so sure you had heard of this. I didn't even wait till the podcast because I was like, Joanna Jedrzejczyk, was she talking about digitally penetrating her boss? Like, I think we've gotten too PC as well, but certain things ESPN usually shies away from. This you will not find on their website. I love that MMA Junkie was like, we'll air it unedited. What is she trying to say? So the whole preface to this was, hey, are you going to talk to Dana about a next fight? She was like, I will definitely call Dana. Talks about it being amazing, place 10, and then straight into, I'm going to read this one more time for the fans at home. I am not making this up again. We are a comedy podcast. I should say this. Big thanks to Dana. It's not like I'm trying to be sweet and put a finger into. I'm sorry. I'm not through yet. But that's not true because he knows what's up. So I want to start with the first half of this. Maybe something was lost in translation. Like maybe this is a beautiful Polish phrase that I've never heard. More than willing to be corrected. But it's not like I'm trying to be sweet. So her version of sweet is to digitally penetrate a man, telling you a lot about, like, as her metaphors.
There's definitely a lot of making me not so sure I ever do want to go visit our friends, the Polish. They might be like, oh, look, they're so wait, no,
they do things
no,
differently.
I just got off a plane. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a different culture. One of my favorite things, but like that's what she views as sweet. It's like I'm trying to be sweet, put a finger in. And then this next statement has there's a lot that leaves to be interpreted by the next statement, but that's not true because he knows what's up. Okay, one, does she have inside knowledge about how Dana White's sex life is going? Because that was sure not the question. Two, is she referencing back to I will call him about this fight? Or is she, three, secretly alluding they have carnal knowledge of like the other's interests?
I don't know. It's like when you break the news of a double negative to somebody and they go, what? So I don't even think, even in the translation getting lost, like, I'd love to hear what it's supposed to mean in her brain. I wish there was a real live time little Joanna that's like the Microsoft clip that just goes, hi, you might be wondering what she's saying. I don't know either. It's weird.
This should have been a news alert. I'm upset at everybody I didn't get this. I had to go through news.google and my friend Donnie. That's not how you should have to find things out, but I'm so glad I did. Oh, man. Big thanks to Dana. It's not like I'm trying to be sweet and put a finger into his ass. Into his ass. Also, not like in his ass. So you could, she really she's focused. But that's not true because he knows what's up. And she immediately goes right back to talking about her legacy. This makes me only love her more.
Okay, but do you think that she's saying it in the form where she's like, I would never do that, and then that's not true, is the like wink def have? I don't know. Maybe it's your tone that I'm getting as that version.
I also can't tell if she's subtly flirting, like, but he knows I would. Like, it's like I think he's probably out for the same reason we might all be currently, but he's not gonna comment. He just won't.
There's so many people that Dana has been alleged.
I think Tito Ortiz said this exact thing 5 to 7 years ago, just in a less fun way.
Oh, I'm very glad that you brought up Tito Ortiz because this is not on our rundown, but it's my turn to take back the breaking the news to you.
It's not going to be this good. Everyone vote. Everyone listening right now.
No,
pull
don't
over
vote.
And text us. Tell Raph via DM or social media, Kevin's breaking news was the best breaking news of 2019.
So there's a moment where Tito Ortiz got on a camera and they were asking him to promote the fight with Alberto Del Rio. Now, you know what's really great about this is they actually did a photo op where they had Alberto Del Rio with his WWE Championship replica.
Where was he doing it? Who asked Tito? Not the UFC.
No, but Tito Ortiz definitely had one of his old belts. And I think someone made the comment, neither of these gentlemen have these belts, or are they current? So it was fun to start there, but then Tito went on a radio tour, and on the radio tour he said, this is a fight between me, real American, and Alberto Del Rio, Mexican, who became an American, and it's more than just a fight. It's a fight it's a fight for the future of America.
Oh, gross. Oh, God. Is he trying to Rocky this? First of all, I don't think he's going to fight in Mexico as fun a villain as 1970s era Soviet Russia. But two, your name's Tito Ortiz, man. Never mind.
Mexicans haven't known him for years. It's fine. I just enjoyed the fact that
just the absolute, like, I'm an American. It's like, oh, really? You came over with Plymouth Rock? You were of the Ortiz British? Got it. Now I'm focused.
But Kev, could you imagine though that
he's a huge Trump supporter sideline? That's why I'm so angry at him. Not at his politics have really skewed right.
Oh, fuck it. You know what? No cage. Have a wall around. That's what they should do that fight in.
Oh, and second, okay, that's funny.
If we really are talking about the future of America,
finally an attainable wall, like that's buildable.
I think the minute one of them goes and gets into the wall themselves and is doing wall work, they're going to be like, this is kind of inhumane to actual people.
I was just going to say, Tito's super introspective when he like experiences things. You'd be like crying by the end. You'd be like, this is wrong. What have I been doing? I'm sorry, Hillary.
So there's a great moment though where Tito just moves on and the hosts just move on. But any other person goes, listen, if we were to be fighting for the so-called love and appreciation of America, it wouldn't be you guys. Let's just be honest. That no one's hankering for a race war or a pro-America war and saying Tito Ortiz is our representative. We barely allow you to get on camera as is. I don't think we're going to be the first people to go, That man represents all. That man represents some of us.
A few, right? Like he's got some. I get it. He has a following. Not opposed to it. Damn it. You don't have to bring Tito Ortiz back up. But I do like that we started this on a somewhat political note. Sexual then political. Turn to the fights. Because I've got these.
So I'm
Go ahead.
2 rounds in on Swanson versus Gracie. And to his credit, I saw that Gracie tried to jumping pull guard.
That's the one I wanted to reference. That's right what I was about to be like. He tried this like sort of what I would call like a white belt guard technique. I'm sure he's much better at it. But I get it.
I mean, you get hit a few times, you forget what belt you are sometimes. But the strategy that I heard from people who did watch it live was, man, Raph. I was like, what does that mean? And they just go, that Crone Gracie fight. Yes. What about it?
I'm listening.
It was, man. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It wasn't that fun.
I started reading the CompuStrike stats and I said, okay. And then I saw that Crone said that he won the fight. Now, this is also the man who said that the earth is flat. So, you really got to do your research in order to double check those facts.
Bro.
Here's why it's so good, like, though,
isn't
Kev.
It?
Cub Swanson said in response to that, as, to try and put the final little dig at the very end, he just goes, and the world isn't flat either.
He definitely, I thought Cub Swanson won. He was striking him, he kept hitting him really aggressively in the gut. You've probably seen that highlighted in that second round.
They're just doing a slow motion of it as we go into the 3rd round right now. And
that'll make you rethink a single leg.
Ugh.
Like struggling to breathe because he just crushed it. I think it's something we're going to see with some interesting, just the striking patterns against some of the grapplers. The big winner in this fight, which again was not me because this was a long one and I was really hoping for some jiu-jitsu. And Cub Swanson, love watching him fight. That's exactly how I would have fought. Crone Gracie, quite a chin. Not saying it was a bad fight, just, it's like hanging out with Gordon Ramsay and you all just have a cocktail together. It just wasn't what I was looking for out of the experience.
The people were saying, and this is what I do now see, which was, what was the strategy for Crone? And why did he feel the need to stand and bang when he's the jiu-jitsu guy? Like, I get it. It's just, there's just a difference between the punches here.
When Cub Swanson's hand went up, so did Gary Tonon's chances of fighting Crone Gracie in the near future.
Funny you mentioned, Kev, you're inadvertently transitioning us to such great things because they definitely said, who would you like to see Crone have a super fight with? And like Candy and a baby, Gary Tonon took the bait and said, yeah, tell them me. And I would take that. Fight, whatever. I don't care. I would take it. And I think somebody said, yo, you wouldn't want that Crone smoke. And Gary goes, I don't know, maybe you're right, because whatever he's smoking has been making him say some statements that do not seem based in reality lately. So, yeah, I might give you that. But I
love his training videos, though. Crone's training videos are always like a Bruce Lee film without the fun. Like, it's just a lot of focus. It's good.
I would say I've thought about this a little bit more, and I'd love to see Crone's training videos directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, God. They already do have like a pretty sort of gritty thing to them. It's not.
I mean, I would just love to hear Quentin try to write some of the dialogue for Crone that would maybe establish this character a little bit more than the way he is. But, yeah, I mean, Cubs winning this fight. And kudos to Crone for just trying to push the action. I just hope he's not confusing that, like, age-old octagon control, which I think they've tried moving away from in terms of a judging criterion. But, like, yeah, this is, it's not hard to watch. It's just, there's lots of questions. More questions than answers, one might say, Kevin.
Yep, and frankly, that's what happens when it's not I wouldn't say anyone like crushed it, right? Like if somebody just fight wise, it's like yeah, it's not that. It's close, but it's reasonable. Joanna Jedrzejczyk defeats Michelle Watterson in the fight and in the quote game because ain't nobody topping Joanna these days. Joanna, fun fight again. This is back to my strategy that this weight class is just sort of rubbery. Like it's really difficult to knock each other out or finish each other, but fun, exciting fight. Again, outside of one specific, because now I want to pivot to Mackenzie Dern, where it was just the perfect grappling trifecta of no grappling. It was
So on the Joanna little last comment I want to leave on that one, somebody said, and this is how you can tell we get into a rinse and repeat mode with all of this, because they go, Joanna's looking good. Is she ready for another title shot? And I go, are we back there again?
The answer is yeah.
Shit.
It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Thug Rose ready? Knock somebody out?
I don't know, but haven't we seen? Whatever. I just like that because when you mentioned that it's such a rubbery division, I couldn't help but think maybe. Wait, when did that happen? How long has it been? What year is it?
We started this podcast, but I guess Jessica Andrade is the current title. I'd watch Andrade versus Jedrzejczyk.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of fun. And I can't wait to hear Joanna's comments about reaching out to Dana post-fight, or anyone really, if people want to know. MMA Mania is ready to ask her a lot more questions. I have a strong feeling. Mackenzie Dern, no, she just kind of got beat up on her feet. No big statements, though. No heel hooks, sadly. I was like, surely she's going to come out pissed about ADCC. Watched everybody grapple, didn't get to go. That's also me teasing a transition. But the big thing we have to talk about is the Nico Price foot to face over Mr. James Vick. It was a grappling. This fight was awesome. Have you seen this fight? Did you go back and watch it?
No.
This is the fight you need to go back and watch for two reasons. One, it has the most gruesome up kick I've seen or heard. It completely knocked James Vick unconscious, who fell to his knees and was still unconscious and struggling about 2 to 3 minutes later. So a little bit of a serious moment, but loud. Like Adam Sella hit in the face loud.
Oh, no.
Yeah, pretty good one. So that's the one to see. It was 5 decisions and that. Nuts. All right.
Well, let me see. I knew that James Vick had a lengthy statement, so I'm just going to kind of breeze through that as you transition.
Yeah, I hope he's, obviously I'm hoping he's okay. Well, I want to transition to the ADCC, which is where I'm giving the nod and the control. I was waiting to see if you were like, I have found the Nico Price clip. I am watching. I am disgusted. But
the other one, I didn't know that was Nico Price per se. I know there was like a walk-off home run knockout. That was I thought a punch. I got to see the name of this gentleman. I thought it happened in the prelims, but it shook me.
Possible. I
was in between finishing up from Dream and going out to drink for a little bit. And it was one of the things that I saw where I go, oh my word is all I could say. And I don't know that you saw. Yeah, here's what it was. I'm going to go ahead and send it to you on Facebook. It's so ridiculously impressive that all I could do was just say, God damn. Oh, God.
We are on the path to talking about EyeGate.
Yes.
Eye-borne illness? No. The eye plague?
Wait. The eye-borne identity?
We're getting there, especially since Cyborg's involved. There is, you sent me a photo from Instagram. It's JT Torres looking, I want to be clear, handsome, but not normally, not as handsome as his normal elevated 12. He appears to have some sort of very serious eye infection. Oh, here we go. Oh, my God. Mohawk to the face. Ouch. Raph just sent me the heavy left. Yeah. Oh, thank God for slow motion. Sorry, the endings. So, yeah, okay. That is not as good as Nico Price's, but it's a good shot.
Okay.
That takes a close second. JT Torres has the eye thing that Keenan left, withdrew from ADCC for, because he clearly got it at, I guess he was training at Henzo's. Henzo being patient zero, meaning everyone that's been through there, if you're doing a quick number, it's like 7 to 8 of the fighters. Do we have an idea? Cyborg got it as well as JT Torres. We can presume JT fought Gary. We know Cyborg fought Nicky Rod, who was questioning whether or not he was going to compete. Cyborg is pissed because he can't do seminars or enjoy his Hawaii vacation. I loved, it was like a subtle power statement from Cyborg, but I did dig it. He's like, I can't even go to fucking Hawaii with my family. God damn it. He's upset about the promoters. Who's ultimately responsible for the athlete's bill of health prior to arrival? Like, who would make the call to say you can't fight, you have this eye infection, or you're exposed to this eye infection?
I guess it would be the tournament director.
Kind of has to be, right? And they really have been pretty quiet on the subject.
Well, I don't know, because they do try to downplay, I believe, Mo's role. Whenever they say, like, Mo, you're ADCC, he goes, I'm just a coordinator. I'm like, I don't think that's the official title. Maybe overseer of ADCC relations. Like, I don't know. It would be an EVP title in our business language, I think, of some sort, but whatever. So I would assume it would be somebody like Mo or the officials who maybe are the refs or the teams that oversee that. I don't know. I don't know who they're blaming on it, but you were right to kind of identify the weirdness.
They should just bring them before Andre Galval and he'll do it Caesar style with a thumbs up, thumbs down. No, that person has eye aids. I can see it.
Well, okay, so this is why it's confusing, is that they said it was Renzo Gracie that was
the gym,
the place where it started. There was rumor on the street it did not come from them. It became a hub. And
well, sure, we're not accusing them of inventing the eye infection. So
sure.
I just want to be clear. I don't want to.
But they accuse another place.
Classic.
So just, misdirect that if you would. So on the other side, we've got some memes that have been making light of the situation on being like Craig Jones just shrugging whenever they're looking at people to blame for the eye infection. So there's, I think, a couple different camps on this. And I think the Renzo Gracie, New York perspective is a pink eye, even though it's super pink eye, going to really kill you if you just have to deal with it and you just don't have to do anything for a little bit?
It does suck. I mean, I would be clear, Cyborg was the one that missed out on his vacation and the money of the seminars, which is like,
well, that would be the second part, which is the second perspective of everybody saying, yeah, that sounds nice and all, but I had seminars planned, because people, when they come to ADCC, don't just make plans to compete. They make sure that they try to make some extra cash on the side. So when you talk about that and the time it takes away from you teaching, and, right now there's a GoFundMe for Yuri Samoas because he got injured. So that was just a man who got injured. Not to my knowledge does he have any eye herpes, but his teammate Mason Fowler sure looked like he was in the next 28 days later.
That stuff sucks, though. And I will say, like, here's the catch. This is my commentary. You've seen it in the NFL. This is much more fun and direct because it's local. They're not making that kind of money, and most of this news broke on Instagram, which I love the jiu-jitsu world. It's just Cyborg commenting on JT Torres. We're like, news. They specifically are living in a world where ratings were dependent on certain fighters being there. As you're losing old guards, Shanji's on the commentary table. People don't know that, right? Lovato's out. There's a lot of names that have left. The Mendez brothers are not fighting. You can go on. replacing that requires certain waves. Nicky Rod and that whole crew was a big part of it. So you kind of have to think anyone was going to err on the side of, well, Cyborg, we love you, but if you dropped out, the tournament goes forward. If all of the Danaher Death Squad drops out, this tournament starts to really suffer. There is an element of that to me. I'm not for or
but
against.
what
I'm
would
just
you
telling
do?
them the reality.
I get it. It's just, what would you do?
Without visible signs, how do you not let him go? Like, it's not like I saw Nicky Rod. He didn't look like he had it. But that is one of the worst. Like, I could just hear physicians. There's got to be at least physicians and nurses rolling their eyes at us aggressively right now. It's like, I get it. But
yeah. So I had a few different things that I was trying to do on the investigation on my side. Obviously, I heard from Mason after I posted his face. Mason is a friend of the show, and he was saying what a bummer it was, but I just kept being like, of all places I saw this photo, Kev, and I kid you not, it was at the CVS when I was getting my flu shot.
Oh, there you go.
So when there's a woman walking around sneezing on everything, and you're thinking like, oh God, put it in me yesterday. And then you see that there, you start to get the moment where they do the rush rack focus in Thriller on the girl in the movie where she's just kind of like, shit, everyone's a zombie. So you start to get a little nervous about it. But here's the good news. It does seem like they will be fine, but it does raise the question. Okay, so if you have this once every other year, what do you do? Do you say, fuck it, you guys got to fight and deal with the consequences? Or do you create a new bracket? And this is what we proposed on the show. I believe it was on Grappling Hour. I said, what if we just take instead of an absolute, it's like absolutely everything in your eye and your leg and your knees is acceptable. Don't care if it's gushing, even better if it is. Come on in.
It is inclusive. If we're just talking about like the basics, this is a cousin to my let's just have a steroids only MMA league.
Yes.
This is right in that wheelhouse. So you already know I'm in. If you're infected, I'm not sure where this is funny. If you're infected, go all the way to mat 4. Everybody's going to be on mat 4. It's like Gabby Garcia. Great. Okay. You're going to fight Nikki Ryan. Congrats. It's going to be weird, but I think we might have just done something really cool for ratings. We might have destroyed the sport of jiu-jitsu, but small price to pay.
Meh.
There's going to be no Lifetime movies made about this eye infection thing, so this is the best you got, jiu-jitsu world. Speaking of eye infection-free events, Raph, where you were this weekend, that I would describe as a dream. Nope, that's the title of it. But it is both a dream and that is the title. Dream Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. You're back to just hanging out with the Sean world, being down there reporting. You're taking, sounds like hundreds of photos. Give me the 411. You said it was they were doing Baddest Blue?
Yes. So the Baddest format is submission only, no time limit. And it's been a while since they've done one of these. And I couldn't have been happier because that's one of my favorite formats to watch, if not maybe my favorite. It is difficult sometimes. And I was taking photos. And yeah, sure, I did want to yell out how they could finish certain lapel chokes from certain places. But that really wasn't my role. And who's to say I actually know?
I was just about to say it. And then somebody like leans in and they're like, Kevin, that's not. It's like, oh, shit.
I'm always really afraid that if I do yell that out, someone's going to come over and be like, let me correct the corrector here. But I was pretty happy to see this. And here's why. The grit that you show in submission only, no time limit is amazing. And I hate saying that I do this, but I do try to catalog the exact moment the fight ends because I always like the fighter to see a representation of how tired they were, because rather than harp on it, I want them to understand like they overcame a lot of adversity just rolling without stopping for a long period of time. One of the women's matches went for an hour and 20 minutes. And then the woman who won wasn't done. She had to go to another match, which went about 55 plus minutes. You know, I mean, granted, are you watching?
I'm sorry, Raph. I passed out.
Yeah,
55 minutes? Oh, I made a face. I went away from my microphone to whoever fought that long. Ugh,
well, keep in mind, it
gross.
was an hour and 20 minutes before the 50-minute match. So I think in a day where she had
You're
3 matches.
2 hours of jiu-jitsu.
2 hours plus, yeah.
So even if you have like enough for the hour. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm back in the microphone. I'm back.
But it does, like,
I persevered.
it is fun to see these people do it. Yes.
I actually love this format. And one of the things, I mean, an hour and 20-minute match, if you're ever just interested in explaining, it's like jiu-jitsu. So can you explain, is it fun? Like, how do it's like, yes, but if you're good at it, you can go for 2 effing hours just not able to submit someone. But it's old school.
I will say, though, it is also super great to see the upcoming next stars, because you can kind of get a feel of like, oh, this guy's going to be really good. Or actually, that dude's really good at points. He just is here because he wants to see what it's like. So you get a nice mix of a little bit of styles A and B. And there was one dude who won his division in both gi and no gi. And I thought that was pretty cool. So
for a psychopath, like, how many fights
sure.
are you putting in, my man? There's a lot of fights. Minute-wise, total tonnage, it's too much. Plus,
the good news is I think this dude was like, yo, I want to go home. So can you just give me the arm?
There has to be, everybody has to have a time breaking point. Like, there has to be a moment where it's like, I'll give you $20 of my reward money. It's like, they said I get a gi. You can have it. Just give me the arm. I'd deal. I'd be worthy. I would have dealt at minute 17, but let alone.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely be asking, like, let me speak to the commissioner. I'm going to cut a deal. Let me speak to the DA. Is that who it is? I don't know. I just figure if I need to speak to somebody, it's going to be Commissioner Gordon, right?
Hey, I think this guy has an eye infection. Has he been checked? We could stop. I could stop and take a break, check his eyes.
What am I here? I'm midway through Joanna and Watterson, and I mean, Joanna's doing well. There's not much to say other than, you know, Watterson's definitely still in it. It's just Joanna be good. So let's go back to this. You're talking about ways to improve it. So it is interesting. It was part of the Fit Expo, and we had a lot of like really jacked people walking around and going, "What's this? Oh shit, that's awesome!" These guys are just like
tearing the shit out of each other for hours. Yeah, it is awesome.
Yep. And then to the right of us, there's like some kickboxing and Muay Thai, smoker kind of dealings where they're just having people, you know, amateurs come up and get some good kickboxing experience. And so that's pretty dope to see. But if we're looking for ways to make it more viewer friendly, maybe, because don't get me wrong, it's super dope to watch. I get it. And I would never do it to blue belts. I think blue belts are very sweet, so I wouldn't pick on them like this. But I'm just going to throw this out there. This was actually suggested by Art over from 10th Planet Orange, who said, okay, hear me out. For every minute they don't get a finish, you take away a piece of the puzzle mats. I was like, wait, hold on.
I
love this idea.
This is a close cousin to we lower you more into the gator pit. This is good.
Somebody basically said, they go, do you call it the floor is lava? And I said, oh.
Lava match. Just a good old-fashioned lava match.
Because I told him, I said, here's the reason why I love it the most, which is, who says they're going to stop? Because if you see the look on these people's faces, they may be rolling with somebody and smiling and saying like, man, this is dope. I like this person because they're just as crazy as I am to want to get it finished. There's a competition element to it. I don't know that you take away the mats and everybody goes home, some of these people were already going. I mean, like when they had 8 mats. Let's put it to you this way. And at any given time, they were using 3 or 4 of those mats. Okay, because they wanted to space out the time so that if you had a long match, you wouldn't necessarily go the second after. They were doing a good job of making sure that it was fair to everybody. But when we would use those 3 or 4 mats, and especially as we got down later to the end of the day, it wasn't uncommon to see, especially towards like the finals, the referees just go, I mean, we started on mat 3, but we're at mat 1 now. Like, what are you going to do? Fuck it. Knock yourselves out, kids.
Especially if it's sub only. Like, a lot of people's instincts are not to mess with it, and they're right.
Yes. So, met a lot of good friends. Had a lot of people tell us that they're fans of the show. So if you're listening in, we're talking about you. And it was fun. I got to see gi and no gi competition, sub only, no time limit. I love seeing the gi guys compete because they don't always get the love, but Dream very much has the love for Dachki as well. So I would also tell you guys that I actually, for the very first time, I've never done this on my trips to San Diego, I actually stayed an extra day. Not to get work done, though I did. But my reward for getting work done was getting to train. And I finally made my way to 10th Planet San Diego, run by our good friend, Richie Boogeyman Martinez. And also
the breakdancers?
Yeah, well, so Gio has his. And this is what I'm actually worried about because I could only make 2. And that's only because Boogie has a 6 a.m. class. And I said, I can do 6 a.m. and then I could probably do a day shift, but I got to get back up to LA and traffic's going to suck. So I really want to try and leave at a reasonable time. And I ended up going to Spring Valley. But I immediately could hear, especially in response to all of this, Gio finding out about that and going, what, you don't got no love for the freaks in Oceanside? And being like, Gio, there's only one of me, dude. I can only do so much. Be like, no, that's cool. You went to PJ. Like, PJ's, like, he's family too, and that's cool. I'm just, and I'm like, are you that competitive? You'd want me to come there too? I'm just saying, dog, like, I know where you stand. Like, I know that you don't love me, and that's okay. Like, that's cool, dude.
He does always, he has a really good, like, sort of disappointed dad, like, instructor. It's a fun personality for him. It's in his bag of tricks.
Which is the experience I got at Spring Valley, which, by the way, was at noon.
But I bet Gio's class is effing rock. Now that you're doing his impression, I'm like, God, I'd like to take one of his classes.
Well, the feel, the vibe that I got from everybody at the noon class was, Raph, what are you doing here? This is great. Oh man, you've never been here before? And I was like, no, it's my first time at Spring Valley, and it looks amazing. The gym is awesome. As compared to 6 a.m. And by the way, this is testy to do at 6 a.m. with me when I've only had so much sleep because I've been doing all the photo editing. But I got Boogie roasting me the entire time and going, dog, I'm actually like insulted that it took you this long to get here. Like, it's really like, it hurts me deep in my soul. And like, it's all love, brother, but like, what the fuck, man? You don't like us? And I was like, I'm here now. Yeah, but you haven't been here before. And I was like, but what? So, anyway.
Now he's going to hear you did an impression of him.
Well, I've done the impression a couple times. So, and now I know that some of the people who train at those places listen to our shows so they can tell him because I'm a safe distance away now. And
that's true. I'm out in Denver. I should be talking smack, but I have a natural fear. It just feels like he might come to Denver. This is a good time to do a PSA. Raph's impressions are his and his alone, and not the work of the Verbal Tap franchise incorporated.
I don't know why we get all of the residuals of my impression and yet keep all of the distance from them. But
Verbal Tap Legal said it is weird, but it is how we do things.
It's a real conundrum here. But man, they could not have been nicer. And one of the Boogie's top generals, Gabe, I finally got to roll with him, and my God, he was a technician. It was beautiful learning as much as I could from him. So I'm definitely going to value that time, and I'm going to look forward to doing it. Boogie taught an amazing class. So did PJ. It was great to see them
And
as instructors. I'm so used to that.
We're not just no-gi bias. I would stand by a lot of the 10th Planet instruction and training. When I first started jiu-jitsu, they would, occasionally get kicked out of seminars for wearing 10th Planet shirts. Now it's so the opposite. It's like such a good place to recommend for like beginners, advanced. It's like, yeah, go. You got it, especially where you're talking about, which is you went from after like PJ was your side piece. Like that was your I'm just going to catch one more in this situation.
Well, I didn't want to. I mean, here's the good news. They're all one brand. So at the very least, when I was telling them, I wasn't sure what their reaction was going to be when I was like, I'm trying to go to both of yours. And they were super accommodating. And they were like, you don't even have to ask. And I was like, you say that, but I feel that if I just showed up, you could very well kick me out. And they thought about it. They're like, no, you're fair.
I'm just, I've been doing that ongoing campaign to make PJ the official side piece of Verbal Tap. Unofficially, I've been writing some letters, but it's finally time to get it out there.
I mean, here's the good news. The shark was definitely swimming around me, but didn't pick me. So
Woo!
I still have yet to experience the PJ. What I know would be terrible. But I saw the rounds he was having with other people. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that.
He would have picked me for the same reason Vince Vaughn kind of gets spotted. He would have been like, who's that other blonde tall guy? Must settle blonde tall guy dispute.
Well, there's that. And there's also, so we had a lot of friends and everybody was super nice. And I would like to also pay tribute to our good friend Nogi Joe, who it was the first time I got to roll with him. And this man's shoulder pressure was pristine. Like, I want to say the only person whose shoulder pressure that I felt in that specific way that he was doing it was actually Canuto. So, I mean, it's good to be in that company as well. But, I mean, just a fun day all around, dude. So thank you to everybody I got to roll with. It was definitely I'm going to come back. I mean, granted, Boogie's invitation back was him being like, dog, so you better come back because, like, if you don't come back, then we know you didn't like us. And I get that. That's fine. But, like, dog, it's all about love, except you don't have any. And I'm like, this is so many.
Oh, so it's a family trait. I love this. Like, I like the guilt trip they throw at you. That's good.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I told him, I'm just like, what are you going to do when I'm not here? Like, what?
Talk about you behind your back. Same thing we all do. Come on.
But, like, I think the moment that made me truly laugh the most was when I was training with one of his guys, and he comes over, and, like, it looks like I'm passing guard or I'm going to do something good. And Boogie just goes to this poor young man and says, hey, man, I'm just going to let you know, you're going to let this host who, thinks he's funnier than you and more handsome than you, you're just going to let him do that? And I was like, yeah, you should let the host who thinks they're handsomer and is funnier. Wait, what's wrong with you? This poor kid's just like, he does this with everybody. And I was like, I mean, I'm not against it. It's just, I would rather not roast him back while I'm trying to learn the game of like 10 different people all at once. Normally I can do this with my training partners pretty easy, but when I don't know any of your games, I'm like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't look away. Oh, and I'm heel hook. God damn it.
We were working on heel hook Sunday. Will's got his black belt.
I also saw that pain in your face. Did you not? When did he get his black belt? Because I didn't know.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Pretty recently.
Okay.
It was no-gi, but I was still, congrats to, I'm just mentioning them aside, has nothing to do with the heel hooks he was teaching, though. Certainly helpful given his discipline and mastery of the craft, which he was rewarded for. So I guess they are very much so linked. Congrats to Coach Will. It's a big one. Not an easy place to get the black belt, as you're familiar, but while we're highlighting just good cultures, good training places. We're at it. I want to go to San Diego a little bit now, and I'll tell you why for two reasons. One, it snowed already, so that was a nice slap in the face that winter's here. Two, just kind of up some of my 10p game. Like it's been a while since I've rolled with some of those flexible, well spatted gentlemen. So it's just time.
I mean, I'll tell you this much. PJ did something that I've seen a variation of it, but he explained it very beautifully, and I just go, oh. And then I realized I said it out loud, and I was like, oh, nobody else?
Sorry, I just watched 87 hours of ADCC.
Oops,
Something
okay.
just clicked.
Okay, this guy's really good. Maybe you should know that. But Kev, I would tell you this though.
They're all
They would
jaded.
love to have you.
They're like, he's our normal noon instructor.
It's not that they're jaded. They're just kind of like, well, you're an idiot if you thought differently.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I would tell you this, Kev. I mean, you would love the San Diego, and even to the point where yesterday, before I went to my Airbnb to go do photo work, I looked at Yelp, and I was kind of in a mood to get poke. And this place that said it had poke and sushi, and I said, those are all the things I love. All right. It was pretty highly ranked, and I said, well, let's take a shot at it. Well, it turns out near La Mesa, specifically La Mesa's Gracie Bay or Gracie Umaita, they have a sushi restaurant that I ended up going to because I walked out of it and I go, that was some of the best sushi I've had in a long time. And I go, there's a jiu-jitsu place right next to this? Oh, man. If the sushi was this good next to my joint, none of the jiu-jitsu would work in keeping me not fat.
It's a plus and minus system. God, San Diego sounds like heaven. You're just going to rid of, there's a Gracie Umaita place right next to, oh, all right. The university's out there as well, as you know.
Yes. And this was my first time getting down to at least even train. Because I said, I'm always going down and back, and I never get any time. And this is the one time I said, I'm going to reward myself with some jiu-jitsu. And it was hard to explain to people. I go, here's a real truthism. When I do more coverage of ADCC and events like that, my training goes down. So I'm getting kind of grumpy now. And I know that my movement is really going to suck today, especially with people who have dynamic movement. So I know my day's going to suck, and it did, but it was fun, and I enjoyed every second of it. So my thanks to everybody from both camps, or, I mean, essentially the same camp, but both gyms, if you would. And now I see they are icing Joanna's ankle very quickly, or her leg, and there's a big zoom in, which is by far the funniest kind of storytelling you can tell that just looks so awkward and obsolete. Meanwhile, Michelle Watterson is just smiling the entire time and getting the crowd to go into the 5th round. So that's insane. Anyway, that's where I'm at on the fight. It's almost over, but I know the writing on the wall here when I see one.
That is going to do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I am Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Good night and good fight.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...